All right, guys, today I'm excited to bring you Tobias Martochko. We're going to find out why he chose eXp Realty.
You better get fired up.
My man, it's a pleasure to have you on today. How you doing?
Hey, Joe, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely,
doing good.
Absolutely. Now, you are way up north in the incredible market of Jacksonville, right?
Yep, up in Jacksonville.
Yeah. So everybody's wondering right now how the market's going. What's the market look like in Jacksonville?
I think it's kind of the same as Port St. Lucie. Kind of all of Florida seems to be pretty similar. Still, homes are selling about the same amount as 3 months ago, but more inventory. And it's kind of just that seasonality. I think most of it is seasonality. People are just, this is the time of year when to sell, because if you are a home owner and you have kids, this is when you're going to sell because the kids are out of school. So it's just the best time to sell.
So I wanted to have you on because you made the decision to move from a smaller boutique brokerage over to eXp, and there were reasons for that. And we've talked a little bit about it, but I always like to share those reasons with everybody else, because everybody else is listening to this and they're thinking, am I at the best brokerage? And I'm not saying eXp is the best answer, but a lot of the questions that you had and the answers that you found might get them to think, maybe I need to make a move. Maybe it would help me. Maybe it would be at eXp, maybe it wouldn't. But if we can help somebody else make a move based on the thoughts that you had, man, would that be powerful. So tell me, what are the top one or two things that really attracted you to eXp and kind of got those thoughts sparked?
So I will say probably the number one is just being on your team because of you. And so that's the biggest thing. But I had a feeling before I even knew which brokerage you belonged to that you were already at eXp, just because of what I've heard from eXp and kind of pretty much it seems like all the top agents are kind of gravitating towards eXp. And so with that being said, you get kind of the best training, you get the best mentors, everything there is all set to be the best. So I think that's a big reason why. And if you want to be the best, you got to surround yourself with the best. So
boom. That's a huge thing I talk about all the time. Even to myself, I'm constantly saying, who am I spending my time with? Who could I spend my time with that I'm not to be better? And who am I investing time with that maybe I need to cut out because they don't have the positivity, the mindset, whatever it is to bring me to that next level. So I love that you said that, man. Now, you had touched on training. What kind of training did you expect getting into the industry? What kind of training did you get? And what training are you getting now?
So when I first got in, I was told that I was going to get the best training. And really, we didn't train at all. It was maybe once, it wasn't even really once a week. I got maybe 2 sessions of training, and then that was about it. And it's like, here you go. Well, we have the best training now, get going. But over here, it's really a lot different. So the training with you is there's whenever it's very available, on your schedule, but you need to go to, a bunch of trainings, and they're actually relevant. And yeah, it's a lot better quality than what I had before.
I really appreciate you saying relevant, because we're constantly trying to I can't even say the word, tweak our schedule, our training schedule to fit the changing market. Expired listings are something that we're going to add to training soon. It's not something we've really focused on in the past because there haven't been a whole lot of expired listings. If you were expired 3-6 months ago, man, you had some big problems if you couldn't sell in that market, right? But now we're seeing it more and more often. We're seeing homes sit more often. So adding that to the schedule is really important. And, your mindset is in different places. Where my mindset is with my experience and my expertise is different than where a rookie agent's mindset's going to be. It's different than where an individual agent versus a team agent is going to be. So being able to reach out to you guys, which we try to do consistently, and ask, what do you want to add to the training calendar that we haven't talked about? And if I know about it, which, 70-80% of the stuff I'm pretty strong on, we'll teach on it. If I don't know, it either forces me to learn or it forces me to go out and find that person who's the expert in that field. and it's really helpful. So we do, and we've got live training. What do you think of the live version of the training and being able to do it through Zoom? Is that helpful, or do you appreciate different kinds of training?
Oh yeah, so that's probably a better way to train, because especially like over Zoom. Over Zoom is very convenient because then no matter where you are. Right now I'm up in Tennessee and I can still do a training, but and doing it over Zoom in kind of small groups is really good. It gives you that ability to ask questions.
Yes.
Whereas sometimes if you're like on more of a webinar training, you can't ask questions. There's 500 people there. So, but in the small group training sessions, yeah, that's the way to go, I think.
Now, one of the things that I've heard from a lot of people leaving brokerage A and going to brokerage B is that they expected to get a certain level of accessibility to the broker, the team leader, whoever it is, but what they got versus what they were sold was two completely different things. When it comes to accessibility here, tell me about that. Is it what you wanted? Is it more than what you wanted? Is it less than what you wanted?
Oh yeah, it's exactly what I wanted. I mean, I can call you, talk to you anytime. Even before I was an agent with you, I was already able to talk to you a lot. So it was great. Accessibility was no issue at all.
And I want to commend you. I mean, you took the time to drive. How far is it from Jacksonville here? 3.5 hours?
Yeah, 3.5, 4 hours, depending on how fast you drive.
Let's say 4 hours. You drove 4 hours here, got a hotel, and you were with me all day, shadowing me, and then you went another 4 hours back. To me, that shows determination and commitment to what it is you're truly passionate about. And before I even knew you, the second you asked for that, I thought, man, this guy's committed. This is pretty awesome. Do you feel your level of commitment is higher than the average realtors?
Yeah, probably. Because I've talked with a lot of people. Our brokerage, just the smaller brokerage I was at, got bought up by a bigger brokerage, and I talked to a lot of the different people who were making the transition and maybe finding a new home, and I didn't find that level of commitment from really anybody. So, that's just the way it is.
Let me ask you something else. The stat within the real estate industry, we're very, very, very hyper aware that 87% of agents do not make it over a 5-year span, 13% do. In the time that you've been in real estate, you can tell who the 13% are and who the 87% are. What are the one or two biggest differences between those two different groups of agents in your perspective?
Honestly, it's the ability to get up and go when you need to, because the thing is, other people who are, buyers, sellers who are going to call you, they have their own schedule and you kind of have to meet their schedule. And if you're willing and able to do that, or willing and able to, have a team member help you out and do that. And I mean, really, it is in that sense, it's a lot of communication, because you don't have to be there for anything, right? I know some other agents in Jacksonville too, that even though we're at different brokerages, if I need to do a showing and I wasn't there, I can coordinate that, but you have to put in the effort to actually do that. So being available or being able to coordinate availability is really a big thing. So
I like that. One of the things we constantly talk about on the team is I'm not your boss, right? You chose to be on the team and I am guiding the ship. But at the end of the day, it's you driving the ship. You can listen to me, not listen to me, execute, not execute, whatever. But you don't really have a boss in real estate. Even your broker. I mean, they're the one who really, at the end of the day, it's their listing, it's their buyer. You're representing them for that brokerage, but it's theirs, right? But at the end of the day, if they tell you can't be at the brokerage, you just go to another brokerage, right? It's not a big deal, assuming you haven't broken any laws or any ethic issues or anything like that. But I say that because I think this industry attracts people who didn't like their boss, didn't like working on Saturdays, didn't like working late, didn't like overtime, didn't want to wake up early, didn't like doing the crappy job, whatever that job was. And they said, forget it. I'm going to go be a realtor. And so it attracts people who don't want to go above and beyond and do the uncomfortable things. And because of that, for anybody in this industry who's like, I don't care, I'm in it to win it. I don't care how uncomfortable it is. I don't care how inconvenient it is, which you kind of alluded to there. I think you're going to have a great opportunity at being successful. And that 87-13 split, to me, isn't nearly as scary as it sounds when you understand the competition you're going up against. And for you, I've seen since day one, you're doing the consistent things, the daily habits you need to do. We've got, what are some of the things we do within the team? You got 10 pages a day you've got to read, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I saw you when you came, we were mid-book.
Mm-hmm.
You went out, got the book, caught up, you're posting every day, and you're doing
Mm-hmm.
the small habit. Is that habit tough?
No, it's not tough, but doing it every day, the consistency is maybe the tough thing for some people. For some people, it's not. It's about building it into your schedule, right? I mean, you have to, and like you said too, a lot of people who are quitting their job to go be a realtor, they didn't realize how much structure their job actually gave them, and now you have to build your own structure.
Yes.
And that is into your day, and that is a challenge for a lot of people.
Yep. I love that you said that, man. It's all these small habits that your employer is no longer creating for you. You've got to create, right? You got to make your calls. You got to make your conversations happen. You got to go out on appointments. You've got to read your books so your mind is always getting better. You got to show up to training. You got to show up to role playing, and nobody's making you do it. And a lot of agents will say it makes it so tough. And I'm thinking that makes it so easy because I know 87% of people aren't going to do it. So if I just do those simple things, there doesn't need to be anything special about me. I'm instantly in that top 13% just by showing up and executing, right? So I think that's awesome. Let me ask you this. We're big on mindset on the team. Has that impacted you in any way yet? I know you've only been with us for maybe, 2-3 weeks now?
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean the mindset. I mean, the book really does help you get in the right mindset. You're constantly thinking about the things that you just read, and that's a great thing. And I didn't necessarily have a consistent practice of that before. Reading 10 pages every day. I just kind of read or even listened to books, audiobooks. Whenever I had time. So I've gone through a lot, but that consistency is really good. And then also, I know something you had mentioned you do is listen to like Tony Robbins or somebody like that in the mornings. And I find that if I start the day out with that, the rest of the day, how you start the day is how you end the day. I like to say that. So if you start out with that, the whole day is going to go good.
I love that. That's a great point. And anybody watching, by the way, if you got comments, questions, anything like that, you can put them on whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, whatever, and we'll absolutely go over it. But this book right here, The Power of One More by Ed Milet, is what we're reading right now. And it is probably a top 3 book I've ever read. And it's not for realtors, man. It's for anybody just looking to improve on their life. It talks about business, relationships, finances, health, you name it. It talks about it. And it really gets into your mindset, man. Everything starts with your mind. Everything starts with your mind. I don't care if you're a world-class athlete or the best realtor ever or whatever. It doesn't matter. It all starts up here. And that book really does it. And then we're going to finish that book up here probably within a week. And then we're getting into Shift, right? Which is another great book talking about real estate markets shifting. And how do you react to that? How do you do things differently? And I think that is just the perfect time to bring that book on, looking at the way that the market's shifting right now. So if you guys are looking for some good books, there are the books that we as a team are reading. So last question I want to ask you, man, is when you came on, you didn't have the normal goals of a realtor coming onto a team, which is literally just, I want to live. How do I make money? Let's go. You said, yes, I want to learn those skills, but I also want to be a leader someday. I also want to start my own team, and I want to take the influence that I have, the skills that I have, and I want to help other realtors with that, right? So tell me, with that goal, that intent in mind, what attracted you to eXp?
So the team structure, especially of your team. So before this, I had never really been on an actual team. I've been on some quasi teams, that weren't really, they didn't have much structure to them. But I wanted to, I've learned a lot about, from all different trainings all over in books and real estate books. And it's always been a goal to start a team. But before you start a team, I need to actually know how a productive well-run team works. So I needed to get on a productive, well-run team and, see how that works. And because you don't know what you don't know until you're in it. So
Yep. And I was attracted for the same reason. In fact, it was probably the biggest reason. It had very little to do with eXp. It had to do with the fact that the two people, one who had sponsored me and the one who had sponsored him, had
Mhm.
big successful teams locally. And I said, listen, I know that eXp has revenue share, and I know you're going to make money off my sales and all my agent sales. So there is some sort of financial incentive for you to open the doors, to pull the curtain away, and I
Mhm.
can see everything behind the scenes. I want that. I want to know what
Yeah.
you're doing for lead generation. I want to know how you're tracking everything. I want to know your team standards, expectations. How often do you have meetings? What are the meetings like? Where are your organizational systems? I want to know what kind of checklists you have, all of it. And that's exactly what I've gotten since day one. And that's what we are working to impart with you on your journey.
Mhm.
So it's exciting for me, man, to see you doing all this.
Yeah, I was going to say about that. The model that eXp has really does lend itself to allowing people to pull back the curtain, right, and feel comfortable. Because at other brokerages, they're not going to want to pull back the curtain, but at eXp, because of the revenue share model and everything, it really lets everyone, give up their secrets and
Yeah.
feel comfortable doing it. So.
Yep. I love that you said that because at the last brokerage I was at, which was a great brokerage, we had two of the they were the two biggest agents in that office, and I was brand new to the area. And I asked them
Mhm.
both, hey, I'd love to go to lunch with you. I'll buy lunch. And I just want to ask you a bunch of questions for an hour. Just, kind of mentor me, grow me. Let's see how this goes. And both of them politely said, I don't think I have time. And I
Mhm.
get it, right? If you're not incentivized and you're running a successful business, there's no motivation to do that. And even if they would have done it, maybe they would do it once, but they're not going to do it 17 times. At
Mhm.
eXp, and I understand if you're not with eXp, it is annoying to listen to EX people constantly DMing you and texting you and like I get it, right? But one of the cool silver linings of that is all of us as leaders are sharing everything we can to the community. Yes, we do want to attract agents to eXp, but with that intent comes the really cool result of sharing all this great information. And the word that we're constantly using within the eXp community is collaboration, right?
Mhm.
So when we went up to Orlando for shareholders or out to Dallas for the event they had last year with Tony Robbins, it's
Mhm.
filled with monster agents giving you all their secrets. And it's a built environment of that. And I love that more than anything, man. It's helped me build, and I'm hoping it helps you build too. So tell
Oh
me,
yeah.
what does the next 6 to 12 months look like for you in terms of what you're trying to achieve?
So probably trying to really learn everything I can from EXP and from you. And in the next 6 to 12 months, I don't really plan on doing a team at all yet, but just getting as good as I can at all the fundamentals. And then maybe after the 12-month mark, that would be when I would consider doing, starting a team or something like that.
Well, I tell you what, I want to appreciate you for trusting us and just say thank you for that. And it means the world to me. And I take it very seriously. I'm going to give you all my efforts. You've got a great attitude. And more than anything, you fire me up. And it's really easy to get me fired up. All you got to do is execute and show me you're executing. And you've been doing it day in and day out. You've got a great attitude. You're positive all the time. And you're willing to push through and do the uncomfortable things. So hats off to you, man. It's an absolute honor to have you on the team.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Honored to be
Absolutely.
here.
Yeah. So I'm going to end this the way I love to end this with so many other people. Do you have any great nuggets for really anybody, maybe a new realtor, somebody thinking about getting into real estate that you'd want to share that you've gleaned so far in your career?
Um, I nothing that's too spectacular, but I would just say the fundamentals, right? Just get good at the fundamentals, and that's kind of with everything, really, right? I mean, even
Yes.
NBA players, they got to work on the fundamentals, and if you're good at that, you'll learn all the little tips and tricks along the way, but just focus on the fundamentals.
I love that, man. And I think that is spectacular. I think the lack of perception of spectacularism is what makes it so spectacular, because it's really the base of everything. If you're not succeeding, always, I don't care if you're talking the football, NBA, financials, your health, whatever, come back to the basics. It's not as tough as we make it out to be. Well, I appreciate you, brother. Thanks for coming on. I'm excited to see your continued success, and we'll talk to you another time. Have a great day.
All right, you too.